and gentlemen, welcome to the Tea and Crystals podcast. I am T.
And I'm Kristal.
Ladies and gentlemen, as always, we are so happy to have you all back with us for another episode of this here podcast. We got a lot to get into today, but before we do, y'all know how I got to start the show. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. I think I've had a little bit of a better week than you, considering how many people are agreeing with me on our last episode story.
And you know what? I wasn't even gonna go there. I was gonna say that for the live. I was gonna save it for the live.
Save it for the live.
But you know what?
Save it for the live.
No, because I don't know if everybody that listens to the pod. No, you brought it to my front door, so I'm gonna open it up and I'm gonna let you in. This is what I want to say because Kristal and I had a post-show meeting that night that we recorded approximately a week ago, and we discussed the story further because I wasn't quite done. and in that discussion, we really got down to the nitty-gritty and kind of expanded upon what the story was. If y'all weren't here, it was the story that dealt with the brother and sister. The sister was having her wedding on the brother's 21st birthday. The brother wasn't feeling it, so he wasn't going to go. My position was, it's just today. There are potentially extenuating circumstances where she couldn't have moved it. Kristal felt like, regardless, you shouldn't have done it on this day. That's where we were at. A lot of people, I will admit, and my wife included, sided with Kristal. And I will give her that. However, I feel like a few things are important for context, right? So for me, I landed where I landed because I feel like we didn't have the whole story. I feel like OP didn't give us everything that we needed to make an educated decision on his circumstance, right? Because he mentioned that there was something to do with the to-be husband's family traveling in for this wedding and something to do with the children's school schedule. There was a lot left out on if they had other plans during the summer, if they had other family to visit during the summer where the rest of their summer was blocked off, or different family members had different things going on. So this is the only time that the entire family that had to travel could be there. We didn't have that information. So I couldn't say, one way or the other, you set tripping, right? Number two, which is the point that I brought up to Kristal after this show, right? For me, he was a little too hasty because you could have gone to the actual ceremony, because a lot of us know that the ceremonies are usually between 2 and 4 if you're having a wedding during the day, like normal people, and then reception follows. And even if he didn't stay for the entire reception, he could have just gone, show his face, maybe ate dinner. It depended. If he wanted to have dinner with his friends, all he needed to do was go participate in the actual wedding ceremony and then go on about his business, have his dinner, have his drinks, and he could still celebrate his 21st birthday to the fullest, because as quiet as it's kept, the majority of us don't do anything until the evening time of our birthdays anyway, unless we're going to do some type of wild activity. But he put emphasis on the fact that it was his 21st birthday, and your 21st birthday is your drinking birthday. That's when you're allowed to go to the bars and whatever. So that's where I was at with it. I appreciate y'all chiming up. I'm glad that y'all gave Kristal what she was looking for. I'm glad y'all gave her that. But for me personally, I feel like there was just a little too much missing and a little too little reconciliation, any type of he just wasn't willing to budge, where it was just an easy fix to me. It was just too much. But please, Kristal.
So I was still right. But no, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I agreed with you when we were doing our post show that I feel like he should have at least compromised a little bit and tried to go to both, essentially. But I will say the people on Facebook, most of them actually agreed with you. Not in such a nice way. A lot of them were just saying, "Get over it, whatever, get over it." Yeah. My week was good. I had a good week.
I can't stand you.
Let's get into it. Let's get into the stories.
Let's get into it.
Okay, I'm gonna start. Okay, so this one is from Am I the Asshole? And this one says, Am I the asshole for naming my son the name I had always planned even after my brother and sister-in-law stole the name? Mm-hmm. Now, I will say that this is an Irish name, and I did look it up, even though I kind of thought I knew how it sounded, and I think I still have it, but for anyone, the Irish names are a little bit more complicated to pronounce sometimes.
They are.
I don't understand some of their, like they say letters that aren't there, or I don't know. It's just different.
I was about to do a really bad Irish accent.
Don't do it.
The way that y'all did me about my English accent, just
don't do it. Don't do it.
I'm not gonna do it.
But I love their accents. I love the way they pronounce things. Their names are always so beautiful to me.
Yeah. And you would love the way that I pronounce it too, but these people just don't appreciate a good mimic when they hear one. So I'm just gonna keep my talent to myself.
That's probably a good thing. Okay, I'm going to reread this just for the edit. Am I the asshole for naming my son the name I had always planned, even after my brother and sister-in-law stole the name? My brother and his wife has as much right to the name their child whatever they want. I do not own my name. I have no right to dictate to my brother what he names his kid. With that in mind, my husband has a traditional family name that I love. Basically, since he and I were dating and started discussing our future, we agreed that our son would have that name. The name is Oisin. My husband is Irish, not in the Boston, my great-great-great-grandfather came over in the 1800s kind of way, in the born in Galloway kind of way. Neither my family or my sister-in-law have any other connection to Ireland. She got pregnant right around when I did, and her son was born 2 months before ours. They named my nephew Oisin Miguel. I didn't get upset or anything. When my son was born, we named him Oisin Daniel, like I had told her we would be doing. She has flipped out that 2 cousins will have the same name. She's nuts because our family is Hispanic and half of our cousins are named Carlos or Camila. She is trying to insist we call him by his middle name or change his name. I told her to piss off. My mom is staying neutral, but she was very surprised that my brother gave his son an Irish name he knew I was planning on using. She expected him to name him for our late father. Anyways, my husband's family thinks the whole thing is hilarious. My family thinks my sister-in-law is a weirdo, and she thinks I'm an asshole for copying her. Whatever. I'm posting here and sending her the link so she can see outside opinions.
That's wild. Why would you... If you know that somebody's finna name, like she was like, "Oh, bitch, I beat you to it." Like, I guess you can't name your baby that. Shout out to the old people. Be like, "Girl, I'm standing 10 toes on this name, bitch. I told you what I was finna do." Mm-hmm. My baby is what's his name? Oisin.
Mm-hmm. Almost like ocean.
Oh, my Oisin Daniel and what the fuck is a Oisin Miguel, bitch? Number one, pick where you were Ireland and Mexico City at the same time, girl. We on 2 separate continents. Let's really pick which way we want to go. Okay. Oisin Miguel. That would be like Oisin Miguel Notondwe. Like this is a worldly baby. Mm-hmm. Absolutely not. I'm with her 100%. She is not the asshole to me. I wouldn't have done the same thing because, I've gone over on this podcast the fact that, I've been in this situation kinda. Yeah. And we got beat out, so we just don't get to use that name anymore.
You're right.
But I ain't mad about it, girl. It just is what it is. You know, people had the right to use those names. I mean, if we wanted to use a name, we would, but it just ain't that deep. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, this is one of the things where I've always said this, like if someone, especially if I've already said, "Oh, this is the name I'm going to use," and then someone else, regardless of whether or not they're close or not, has decided to use the name as well, I'm still going to use my name that I picked out because I love it. I'm glad you love it too, girl. I get it. I love it too. But I'm not changing it for your comfortability. Like I told you what I was naming. If you decided to also name your child the same thing, great. We're just going to have 2 kids that are named this. You don't get to beat me to the punch and then suddenly it's reserved only for you. So
It
I was
is kind of
happy.
wild that it's first cousins that's the same name. That's a little weird to me.
I mean,
That's the
and
only
who
that's the
knows?
only thing that has me like
Right. But I mean, the family would have just had to deal with it. If anything, I would be calling her child Miguel.
Miguel Notondwe. Little Notondwe. Come here, little Notondwe. Yeah, come lollipop.
Or I'd be giving him a nickname or something like that. I mean, who knows? Maybe they'll be named, once your child is born, you never know what name you're really going to be calling them. I mean, I don't know how many parents will name their child something and then the next thing you know, some sort of variation of that name or some sort of nickname is born and they ultimately end up being called that for most of their life. What happened?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Kristal. Fishy.
You just look
I'm on
so
edge.
done.
You
look
know I'm
so
on edge,
done.
girl. And I this fucking light, y'all. I'm sorry. For those of you who listen to the podcast strictly and have never watched the YouTube, I have a light that's behind me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Very nice glow that gives me a little blue hue, plays off the skin or whatever. And this fucking light, y'all, be hanging on by a thread. In the past, like 5 episodes, I don't know what it is, but it's like this bitch just be falling out and just be turning off.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm over it. I'm ready to rip the bitch to shreds. And call it a day. I'm gonna plug this hoe back in. Kristal, can you pad for like 20
2
seconds?
seconds? I got you. Anytime you ask me to pad something, I don't really know what to actually say, especially since I finished my review of the story. But you know what? I'll read a quick comment. She says, let me see. This is Hubert Burnett. And he says, your husband's family is right. So is your family. She doesn't own the name. And if she's going to pretend that Moses had a 3rd tablet saying that people own names, then she's admitting she was completely in the wrong to give her child a name she knew you wanted to use for yours. She sounds childish and petty, not the asshole.
Completely agree.
As you can probably imagine, everyone pretty much said not the asshole on this one. So, okay.
In the vein of my little malfunction over here, my little temper tantrum, shout out to the YouTube. There was a YouTube comment that very nice YouTube comment that kind of highlighted our progression and kind of making note of us upgrading things, us doing things a little different, adding elements and different things like that. We really appreciate y'all because it is just us. Everybody say thank you, Kristal. That's what I meant to say at the top of the show. Everybody say thank you, Kristal, because last week's reel that came out on Thursday was a less than 6-hour turnaround. Kristal we had a conversation. She whipped it up and had it out for y'all. And I think y'all enjoyed it from what I've seen. So everybody say thank you, Kristal, because she did not have to do that, because if it was me, I wouldn't have. Are we ready to move on to the next story, Kristal?
Yeah, I'm ready to move on.
Okay, so this one comes from my new favorite subreddit, r/relationship advice. I be having a good old time in relationship advice streets. Like I just, woo, girl. They could take these stories, put it in a novel, charge $17.99, and bitch, I'm at Barnes and Nobles. Okay, I'm in line for the pre-sale. This one is entitled, I Need Advice on Confronting My Boyfriend About a Gross Situation. Help. She says, Hey Reddit, I'm in a bit of a pickle and could really use some advice on how to handle a really awkward situation with my boyfriend. We've been together for about 2 years and he recently moved into my apartment. For the most part, everything has been great until I started noticing something strange with the shower drain. Y'all, I'm gonna try my best not to laugh. Oh my God. I'm gonna try my best. Okay, here we go. After he moved in, I noticed that the shower drain was clogging much faster than it had ever before. At first, I thought it was just.
The downstairs carpet?
Okay. At first, I thought it just might be a faster buildup of hair or soap scum since we were two people sharing the shower, so I didn't think much of it. But one day while he was at work and I was home alone, I decided to go through cleaning the entire apartment. When I got to the shower, I took off the drain gate, expecting to find a mess of hair. What I found was something entirely different and downright disgusting, and the smell immediately hit me and was unmistakable. Along with a bunch of hair, there was a large piece that looked like human feces stuck to it. What convinced me that I had actually pulled poop from the shower drain was that in order to confirm my suspicion, I used a knife to mush the lump and discovered seeds, corn, and other unidentifiable bits inside of it. Not to mention the smell seemed to multiply as I mushed it. I was horrified. At first I thought, what if poop floated crystals? I held it together. I held it together this morning. Girl, don't trip me up now. I have real tears in my eyes.
Okay. All right.
At first, I thought,
No. Come on.
what if the poop had floated up from the sewers through my pipes and then somehow ended up in my shower tray? But then I thought, that's impossible. I've never had this kind of issue before. So, so it was pretty clear to me that it had to be.
Our poor listeners, they're like, can I hear this story, please? I just hear you breathlessly saying stuff. This is not my fault. This is not my fault. He started and now he can't stop. I don't know why you would choose this story.
Oh, Kristal. If you know how these stories get, bitch, I was doing good. You tripped me up.
Sorry.
Okay. Now
Okay.
I'm in a dilemma. I really want to bring this up to him, but I'm not sure how to approach it without making things super awkward and embarrassing for the both of us. I care about him and I don't want to hurt his feelings or make him feel ashamed. But at the same time, I can't just ignore it. This is a hygiene issue and I need to address it. I also looked at risks. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna make it. I'm not gonna make it. Oh, she said, I also looked up the risk of pooping in the shower. Hygiene concerns, of course, bacterial infections, clogged drains, odor issues, etc. First of all, has anyone dealt with something similar? Maybe it's more common than I think. How would I even start the conversation? I'm worried about his reaction and how it could affect our relationships. Any tips on how to handle this without turning it into a huge mess? Ba-dum-ps. Would be super helpful. Thank you. Oh my God.
I don't even know if our listeners got half of that story. So sorry for that if that's the case. I hope you have fun editing that audio.
Oh my God. Girl, I'm sorry, y'all, but that shit took me down.
Mm-mm. No. Yeah, no. I wouldn't. I honestly don't even know how I would approach that. Because I feel like, I mean, honestly, I feel like you just have to go for it. Like you have to sit them down and be like, look, I cleaned the apartment today. I've been noticing our drains have been clogged. Can you take a guess why you think that is? And let them try to admit it first or something. I don't know. That's the only thing I can think of. Like, it's a hard conversation, but if this is something that you want to discuss and try to find a resolution for, you just have to just go for it. I mean, otherwise, I don't even want to say otherwise, because there really is no otherwise. I mean, you're clogging the drain and you're causing it to smell. So, like, you have to stop that.
That man took a dump in the drain. I can't imagine. I can't imagine the
No.
level of unpacking your shit. Like it would be like lightning speed. Like
Right.
it would be a Guinness World Record on packing your shit because you would have come home, locks would have been changed, there would have been a new security system installed, and your everything you own would have been on the curb in trash bags. You may not come
Mm-hmm.
back into my home. Your name
Yeah.
would have been off the lease. I would have been down to the courthouse. Like I would have had 45 minutes and all of that would have been done.
Yeah.
Because the one thing's for certain and two things are for sure. You getting the fuck out my house
Mm-hmm.
today.
Yeah.
You nasty bastard. You in the bathroom with the toilet and you deciding to squat down like a dog and take a doo-doo in the shower. And that's why I'm gonna leave it at.
That's what I'm going to leave it at too, because I'm going to gag if I have to continue thinking about what is going on
Girl,
in these people's bathroom.
you ready to move on to the next segment?
Yes, please. Please.
Let's do it.
I am so mad you brought that to the podcast.
I had to. I knew I was doing good though. I was doing good.
You look, when you described it, I just imagined, and it just made me, I had to turn the mic off. I had to gag a little bit. Like, I didn't.
And that shit took me down. Sorry, y'all.
I don't know why do people, they find that funny when they see someone else. I remember I was on a cruise ship one time, and I was with my brother's best friend and his family and stuff like that. And it was like the very last night, the second to the last night or the last night, I can't remember. So we were at the dinner where you get served or whatever. And we had hit waves, like big waves. I don't know if there was an actual storm going on, but the boat was rocking. Usually when you're on a cruise ship, you don't feel the actual rocking or anything like that, or it's very light, because I get seasick very, very easily. This night I felt it all. And so we're sitting at this dinner and these people are trying to get my order, and I'm sitting here like this, feeling the motions, trying so hard not to gag, not to throw up, not even to throw up, because I don't think I ever, when I get seasick, I don't think I ever really throw. I just gag. I just get really, and I'm gagging the whole time. And my brother's best friend is sitting next to me, and he's turned to the side. He's just like this. Wide smile, just side-eyeing me, just waiting. Every time I gag, and I'm just trying not to be the first person to run out of here. And I wasn't. I think I was the fourth. The first person got up, and I was like, thank God, thank God. As soon as that person got up and left, you saw another person get up and left. You saw another person get up and left. And I was like, yep, I'm out. I'm going. Yep. I'm seasick. I can't. I want to eat, but I can't eat. Goodbye. And he just busted out laughing. Just could not hold it anymore. He just found such delight in my pain and suffering. Anyways, we're moving on to our middle portion of this. We are doing, I have an old segment I'm bringing back. We're doing the fact or fiction segment. And I didn't even try to be clever this time because Timmy just gets it. He just gets it almost every single time. He just knows facts.
No, I
I'm
really
not
don't.
smart like that. So I just found stuff. So
I'm going to do
anyways,
abysmal on this test.
abysmal.
I'm
Really?
sure. I'm positive.
He's not, I'm not going to do very well. He's like, I'm going to do abysmal. Exactly.
I had to bring out the thesaurus
Mhm.
for that word.
Okay. Honey never spoils and can be eaten even after thousands of years.
Honey never spoils and can be eaten after thousands of years. Okay, now I am a honey eater. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now we talk. No, that's not true.
That's not true? Okay.
Mm-mm.
No, so this is actually a fact. Honey never spoils and can be eaten even after thousands of years. Archaeologists have found pots of honey in ancient Egyptian tombs that are over 3,000 years old and still edible.
Why I don't believe? Because I have honey in the cabinet right now that has an expiration date on it. So what kind of honey? And I have raw honey.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of honey he had that don't have no expiration date on it?
That's what they said. If
Okay.
it's on the internet, it has to be true.
It has to be true. All right.
It has to be true.
Okay.
You are taller in the morning than in the evening.
And you know what? I have heard this before. I've heard this before, but I've never heard if it is true or not.
Mm-hmm.
You are taller in the morning than you are in the evening. This is. I would say, you know what? I'm gonna say true because I've woken up some mornings and swear that I can see a little higher over the refrigerator than I usually can. So I'll say it's true.
I don't know that feeling. This is true. You are slightly taller in the morning because your spine compresses during the day due to gravity, making you a little shorter by evening.
Okay, that's what I was thinking.
I had never even heard of that. The Great Wall of China is visible from space with the naked eye.
No.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
I've heard people try to say that it is.
Me too.
So I have heard this, but yeah, the Great Wall of China is not visible from space with the naked eye. This is a common myth. It is very difficult to see even with the telescope. Goldfish have a memory span of just 3 seconds.
That is false.
That's false. You are right. Although I also have heard this. I just
Me
I was
too.
like, all right, must be true.
But I think when I heard it, and I was hearing it in the context that is actually a false thing.
Yeah, goldfish do not have a memory span of just 3 seconds. They can actually remember things for months and are capable of learning simple tasks. This next one is a shout out to my nephew because he actually brought this up. The first oranges were not orange but green.
The first how do people know what the first oranges were?
I don't know.
Now that's my question. When did we start recording the colors of oranges? Was Adam and Eve in them? Like, she took that bite of an apple and said, I should have ate that green orange.
Did we, this whole time, have we been thinking it's an apple, but it's really been an orange this whole time?
Damn orange. That oranges were green. But what the hell would make an orange orange? And why would they name it an orange if it was green? But if your nephew told you, then that means it must be true.
I know. I shouldn't have said that right then.
Right.
It is true. I did kind of give it to you. My bad. Okay. It says the first oranges were not orange, but green. In warmer climates like Vietnam and Thailand, oranges remain green even when fully ripe. He told us this, although he didn't put it in the context of like, back in the day. He just said, not all oranges are orange, right? And I'm like, what are you talking about? They're called orange. Like, how are they not all orange? But yeah, he found it on, of course, YouTube or TikTok or something like that, where it said that in warmer climates, oranges are actually green.
Get the hell out of here.
I know.
So they just stay. I
They
mean,
just
I would
stay
assume
green.
that they bud green and then
Right.
turn orange, but I wonder why.
Yeah, because if you see an orange, sometimes at the very, very top of it, you can see a little bit of green on it.
The green,
Mhm.
right.
Yeah, I guess
I wonder
some of
why
them
they
just
turn orange.
I don't
Maybe
know.
it's a mutation. Like maybe those are the OG oranges.
Yeah.
And we got the mutated ones, but
Okay, and then the last one. A single lightning bolt is hotter than the surface of the sun.
no.
No.
That can't.
That was
can't be
real
true.
quick. You're like, no. This is actually a fact. A lightning bolt can reach temperatures of around 30,000 Kelvin, which is about 50,000 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about 5 times hotter than the surface of the sun.
Get the fuck out of here.
Right?
Ain't no way that's true.
That's crazy.
The surface of the sun, bitch. Do you know what the surface of the sun look like? That's crazy.
No, I do not.
You ain't never seen the NASA? Okay, you need to go on YouTube, Kristal, because NASA has a amazing video that they took with some new camera they got that really like, and they have like different filters that they put on it, so you can see like different.
I was about to say, like, who got close enough to the surface of the sun to see it?
So I think I watched it earlier this year or at the end of last year, where they were showing the surface of the sun and like the different solar flares, and it was really like they were really breaking it down into like what was actually happening on the surface of the sun.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. Like,
I would be very interested in seeing that.
You know what? I'm gonna find it and I'm gonna send it to you. Don't even worry about it.
That sounds good.
It was like, I want to say it was like a 45-minute video or something, and it was like midnight, and I watched the whole thing.
I was about to say, that is something I would watch at 2 a.m.
Yes.
But yeah, that's my fact or fiction. I'm super excited that you got a couple wrong. Your face is so offended.
Because I would have bet every dollar I had that was like, I'm so glad that you got a couple right.
Oh.
I'm so glad you got a couple wrong.
Every time I bring this little segment to you, I think, okay, yeah, this one's definitely going to trip them up. And you get like one wrong. Everything else, you're guessing half the time. You're like, well, see, in order for this to happen, you have to have this. And so if that connects here,
and if you
that
carry the
must
one,
mean it's this. So yeah, that's going to be true.
You take the square root of that solution and you apply it to pi, then you come out false.
Exactly. So I was just like, yes, I got you.
Well, girl, yeah, you got me. You got me at least twice in this one. That was a good one. That lightning one, I still can't believe it.
I know. When I read that, I was like,
ooh. Damn. Well, that's why when people get struck by lightning, girl, it look be curtains. Okay.
I get it now.
Grand opening, grand closing. You ready to get into the next story?
Yes.
Before
if you
can say something.
Do it.
Stop. Because I'm going to start laughing and I'm not going to be able to stop. Okay. So this one is from r/Am I the Asshole? And it is entitled, Am I the Asshole for Starting My Wedding Ceremony Before My Mom Showed Up?
Ooh, you know what? I saw this title and I almost read it and I didn't.
Girl, well, I didn't read it. So let's go with it. You can find out what the fuck happened the same time I did.
Okay.
The day of the wedding started out as they normally do. I, the bride, was inside getting ready. Final touch-ups, excuse me, were being made outside. After I was almost ready, noon, my mom had run back to the hotel 20 minutes away to change and come back with my grandma and family friend. The invitation says ceremony is at 2. As per usual, we were a little late starting, but nothing crazy. Next thing I know, I'm walking myself down the aisle with no mom, grandma, or family friend in sight. The ceremony continues and is over before we knew it. Still nothing. After 45 minutes, Finally, they pull up. Then I proceed to go and tell them it's over and that they missed it and that two meant two. My mother immediately became hostile and proceeded to blame the bakery for not having buns ready. And then said that they were stopped by a train, and my personal favorite was, it's your fault you didn't call or text to see where we were. Excuse me. Again, the invitation said two. Also note the officiant also had another wedding to get to after mine, so it was a tight schedule. So am I the asshole for not holding up the ceremony? Side note, I found out the reason why they were late. She wasn't done getting herself ready, therefore holding up everyone. She is mad at me because it's my fault. Am I the asshole?
Okay, so it confused me a little bit. So the mother was there, and then she left. Oh, okay. I'm assuming she got there before when they were setting up, and then she had to go and change into her formal wear. Okay, so
Boom.
she didn't give herself enough time. Like, did she not leave in a timely enough manner for
It
her
sounded like to
to?
me she did, but she took longer than she should have to get
Right.
ready.
I will say the only thing that I have issues with is that you didn't try to contact them to. It doesn't sound like you did try to contact them to find out where they were at. I would have at least done that. And that way I could have been like, "Hey, I'm so sorry, but it looks like you're going to miss it because my priest, he has another wedding after this. Like, we have to start. We have to start now. I'm going to try to stall as much as possible. But when they say this is it, you have to go, I'm going to have to go whether or not you're here or not." I would have given that at least that much of a courtesy. But to me, from the little bit of context you're giving, but the way you're describing your mother, it doesn't sound like you have a very good relationship with her anyways. That's what it sounded like to me. Like, you didn't put too much of a fuss when you had to walk down the aisle. Other than the fact that they weren't there, but like you weren't like distressed or so upset. I know me, that priest would have been tied down to that altar until I was ready to walk down it because my mother was going to be there. I have a very close relationship with my mother, and there's no way I would be getting married. If it got to the point where that priest was going to leave, somebody would have been getting online, getting ordained within the next 10 minutes so that someone else could have done it. But either way, it was not going to happen without my mother being there. So yeah, to me, it maybe it sounds like you don't have that close of a relationship. So for you, while you were upset, you were just like, whatever, I'm just gonna do it. With that being the case, I mean, at the end of the day, you set a schedule and the priest had another wedding to get to. I'm going to say, I don't know. I'm going to say a slight everyone sucks here with a little bit leaning towards not the asshole.
Yeah. Because I'm more mad at the priest than anything, because why are you double booking yourself on my wedding day?
Right.
Like, why are you rushing me through my ceremony? Like, come on.
Because I would think you would know that no one wedding ever truly goes
come on. Like,
on schedule. So I would want to make sure
never starts on time.
Yeah, I would want to make sure that you really just have one wedding per day, essentially, unless the one ceremony is in like the the late mornings and the other one's in the evening. Then sure, I can see how you would probably book yourself because you can pretty much guarantee you'll get to both of the ceremonies. But
if you're so tight that you got to rush me in order to get to your next one, don't worry about it, player. I will find somebody else to do this.
Agreed.
Yeah, that's insane. Everybody does suck. I'm with you, Kristal. Like, I'm not, if it's somebody that's important to me that I want at my wedding, I'm not gonna start my wedding because I just think of the type of person who would, as crazy as it sounds, Kristal, I'm thinking of somebody very specific that we used to work with that would do this, and their initials are JL. Who, ended up, you know, being, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
that person gives me very much like they would take that sort of attitude
Mm-hmm.
and just because they kind of showed that with us,
Yeah.
like very chameleon like.
Mm-hmm.
And people like that, I can't trust, I don't like.
Yeah.
So that's what makes me like, girl, you are the asshole in this situation because you could have waited for your mama now. But your mama is the asshole for being so late.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's just
Yeah.
a very, very weird time to set a boundary.
Yeah.
To me.
Yeah.
You should have been did this, girl. You should have set
Mm-hmm.
precedent for this. This is not the day to hide behind your wedding to be an asshole. But
Mm-hmm.
it's none of my business. It's none of my business.
All right. So was this an Am I the Asshole? What was the what did most people think?
Let me look in the comments. They said not the yeah, the overall was not the asshole.
Not the asshole. Okay. I figured
Yeah.
he was either going to be, like I said, I'm thinking, to me personally, it's more, it's like between everyone sucks and not the asshole. Like,
This first comment said if she could receive a text, she could send a text. It's not up to the
mm-hmm.
bride or groom to keep track of family on their wedding day. That said, it's curious that no other family members, no other member of the wedding party, no wedding planner, etc., made an attempt to find out where the mother of the bride was when she didn't show up. So that's
Mm-hmm.
also another very, very good point. Like,
Yeah.
okay, past the bride, did nobody
Yeah.
else think like, oh, it's kind of weird that
That's
her mama ain't
true.
here?
Mm-hmm.
But unless it was like your sister or your aunt, like who
Mm-hmm.
else at the wedding ceremony is gonna check that your mom? Maybe they don't know what the fuck going on. Maybe they don't know if you and your mama got bad blood or something. That's
Yeah.
kind of a big assumption to make. But yeah, how that's messed.
Okay. All right. So we're moving on to my story. And I decided to take one from the new subreddit that Timmy really likes. This is from the Relationship Advice subreddit. This one says, husband, 34 male, says he regrets marrying me, 32 female, due to my lack of physical activity. Where do we go from here?
Girl, I swear to God, hold on. Before you read this,
Uh-huh.
fuck me. Hold on. Okay. Never mind. I was about to tell you, girl, I know you can read this one. But no. Yeah. Okay. Please continue.
Okay. Let me redo that one for the edit. Husband says he regrets marrying me due to my lack of physical activity. Where do we go from here? Hey everyone, I'm 32 female, married to 34 male. We've been married 4 years and have a beautiful 2-year-old male. For our whole relationship, my level of physical activity has been a problem topic. My husband is very physically active. He used to play soccer, had to stop due to an injury. Walks, bikes, hikes, etc. When we met, I also was reasonably physically active, but doing totally different activities, yoga, dance, etc. We got married during COVID and I got pregnant relatively quickly. During pregnancy and since we've had our baby, now active, running around all the time toddler, I admit my physical activity has dropped to just functional things like childcare and walking around and running after our kid. I've done the odd dance workshop, but I'm definitely not doing any regular scheduled exercises each week. I am an average weight, BMI in normal range, and am net 8 pounds heavier than I was when my husband and I met. In the 4 years we've been married, besides pregnancy and postpartum, I've also had another minor abdominal surgery. Every few months, my husband and I will have a conversation in which he expresses that he's quite upset that my level of physical activity is so low and that he wishes we were doing more active things together. Specifically, he'd love to hike more together. Hiking has never been an activity I've enjoyed, and since we've been married, my husband hasn't been hiking much either, although he used to do a lot more of it before. A couple of weeks ago, we had this conversation again, and he said if he'd known this is where we'd be 4 years after marriage And if he'd known this would be my baseline level of physical activity, he would have reconsidered getting married. Our sex life has been dead postpartum, and I think it's due to this. My reaction was that one, I am healthy and normal and not on track for any kind of adverse outcome due to my health. Two, we have a good relationship other than this one point. He's a great and involved dad. We live in a beautiful place in a house we love, and I bring a lot to the table. Make as much, if not more, money than him. Am a great mom and loving and caring and kind to him. His reaction was that being of average health isn't enough. His expectation in a partner is that they be above average health and activity, and he's not willing to reconsider that. But he does want to work on our marriage and relationship. For my part, I agree that I used to do more when we met, but it doesn't seem right that there's no allowances for the fact that in the 4 years we've been married, it's been COVID, pregnancy, postpartum, and another surgery for me. I do wish I was more physically active, but I don't know if I'll meet my husband's standards even if I tried. Our marriage feels like it's on the rocks, and my self-esteem is really low at this point. Where do we go from here?
Ooh, this is so difficult. My brain is reeling because my emotional response is there's another bitch out there that he's comparing you to. That's my first thought, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then my second brain is like, all right, wait, pump the brakes. That's not necessarily true. There may not be anybody else out there. He may just really not find, as crazy as it sounds, he may just not find you as attractive as he did when y'all first got together, which is fucked up because, you know, a woman's body changes postpartum, which is something that I don't know. I don't know any men who have ever had a problem with that because let me keep my mouth to myself.
I was about to say, I feel like your wife is just like lasered in right now. I'm just kidding.
It's a good thing,
right?
To
right.
me, I just ain't trying to put too much of my business out there, but you know, it's a good thing. You know what I'm saying? And to me, I feel like he has an ideal for what he wants his arm candy to look like, and you original poster aren't meeting that ideal anymore. And Loki, he's trying to shame you into getting back in line. And I don't think that he necessarily has to be going outside of your marriage to come to that conclusion. Maybe he's saying it because he's like, look, these other little bitches at work, they looking right. And I'm trying not to step out this marriage, so I'm trying to tell you, get your shit together before I be forced to cheat on you. Which sounds crazy, but this is the way that some men think, you know. So I think this opens up to a larger suite, if you will, something that you really have to consider. Are you willing to conform to the way that he thinks you should look as his wife, past your humanity? You know, because forcing someone to fit into a box that appeases them is kind of stripping yourself of your humanity, in my opinion. Because if you can't love me when I gain a net 8 pounds, bitch, what the fuck is gonna happen if something really happens to me?
Yeah.
If I fall, break my arm, now they gotta amputate. Am I gonna wake up in the hospital alone with divorce papers sitting on my chest? You know what I'm saying? Like that would really lead me down a spiral to be like, okay, your love for me is superficial.
Yeah.
Your love for me isn't unconditional. It's contingent upon these net 8 pounds. You know what I'm saying? And me going on hikes with you. So it would really open up a lot for me that would lead to a conversation that probably would end up in the dissolution of my marriage if there was no compromise. Even if I planned on making the changes, I want to make the changes for me, bitch ass nigga. Like, I gotta stop getting so comfortable. I'm making the changes for me. Not for you. And that's not to say that there's nothing wrong with wanting to look good for your partner, because who don't? Who
Mhm.
don't want to feel attractive, who don't want to feel sexy, who don't want to feel wanted, desired, etc. Um, but I think when it gets to a point of somebody low-key shaming you for the way that you look, and that's supposed to be the person that loves you, like, ah, you know,
Yeah.
you can go about it in a different way that doesn't seem so icky to me.
Yeah. I agree with you. I think it's wild to me that he's treating her as if she gained 50 to 100 pounds and is just sitting there. 8 pounds on most people is hardly noticeable. Like very hardly noticeable. Um so the fact that that is what he's so hinged upon is crazy to me. I feel like you're right. His love, he's showing you that his love is very superficial to you, because at the end of the day, the activities he wants to do are all seem to all be things that he wants to do. If he wants to do more physical activities with you, why doesn't he try to meet you in the middle and take you dancing, since you like to go dancing every once in a while? Find something that you, now I'm not saying you couldn't try to do hiking and maybe eventually learn to enjoy it. I mean, I get it. When you first start doing any activity, it's going to be a struggle to do, but hiking can be a fun activity in the right setting. But if all he's getting out of it is, wanting to huff and puff and go up hills all day long, no, that's not going to be enjoyable for the average person. Um, yeah, right. Exactly. I mean, I enjoy hiking, but I don't want to be my hike be an upward hill the whole time. Like that's not enjoyable to me. I like, things that go up, down, kind of side, if it's straight, going to a lookout or something like that. Hey, that's cool. But yeah, I feel like, the way he's going about speaking to you is what's causing you to have this low self-esteem. And honestly, I can understand why you wouldn't want to be physical with him in any sort of way and do any physical activities with him, whether, it's something that involves your clothes or not your clothes, because you're basically telling me that I'm not attractive to you. So, and that you are essentially saying you regret marrying me.
Yeah.
What about that is going to make me go, oh, honey,
Let me
get
throw
those
these
clothes
legs up to the
off.
moon. Right.
I'm,
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
another thing. That's another thing that kind of tripped me up when you were reading it. Like the whole y'all haven't really woohooed.
mm-hmm.
And then y'all who played The Sims.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Y'all haven't really
Woohoo.
woohooed.
Yeah.
Zagurma Flub. I love Kristal. All right. I'm very good at Simlish. It's a hidden talent of mine. Sama
Mm-hmm.
Flora. Samala Gla. Girl, I'm so good at it.
That is
Ain't
really
that
good.
good?
Yeah, that is really good.
I have seen Kristal. I, I have said since I was a teenager playing The Sims that I have wanted to do a Sim voiceover so bad.
Oh, that
Oh,
would be
girl,
really, put it out there to the
it is.
universe.
Girl, it's top 2 on my bucket
Mm-hmm.
list. If anybody out there listening knows anybody that has to do with The Sims, please, if they're doing Sims 5, just let me come in there and do one line. I'm so good. I was made for this. Anyway, when you were mentioning that, they hadn't woohooed, I was like, okay, that I really didn't want to go down the road of he cheating, but
Mm-hmm.
that's what led me there, because
Yeah.
if he finna get it somewhere, girl,
Mm-hmm.
and unless he, you know, tearing that thing up, doing the solo, the trumpet solo and the trombone solo, playing the hell out that clarinet, then he getting it from somewhere else. And that's what kind of led me to, okay, he wants you to look like this person that he laying up with behind your back. But
Yeah.
I really, really, really don't want to go there, because that may not be the case. He may not be cheating.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He may just be idolizing some woman that he sees, but maybe hasn't pursued.
Yeah.
And he's trying to do right by his marriage by saying, get your big ass up. You know what I'm saying? And come out here and lose 8 pounds, bitch. 8 pounds. That's Thanksgiving weekend.
Right. That's what I'm
bitch,
saying.
You finna break up with me over Thanksgiving weekend? We have a whole holiday season to get through. Starting with fucking Halloween, bitch. All that sugar and candy. Until January 31st, girl, I don't know what my body gonna look like. It's a lot of drinking. It's a lot of eating. It's a lot of sweets in that 4-month period.
Yeah.
And I don't know what I'm gonna look like at the end of it, bitch. But that's what resolutions are for.
Yeah.
That's what memberships until April 1st are for.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? For me to lose these couple pounds that I gained during the holiday season. Because one thing I'm going to do, I'm going to get this body right for the summer, bitch, and I'm going to let it go for the winter.
Yeah.
That's hibernating.
Why I think to wrap this up, I really think at the very least, because I can't imagine how you would want to, feeling the way you're feeling and the way he's acting, I wouldn't want to put any sort of effort into trying to meet his standards. I think at the very least, if you want to try to salvage this marriage, you guys definitely need some sort of therapy to help you guys communicate with each other, because it's not happening now.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, girl, good luck. Good
the fuck luck. Thank you for that, Kristal.
You're welcome.
Very entertaining. And thank you all for joining us for another episode of the Tea and Crystals podcast. If you like what you heard, make sure that you leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you are listening. Make sure that you also leave us a written review. Those are so important, and I mean that. Leave us a fucking review. If you like what you saw, make sure that you like, comment, share, and subscribe on YouTube. If you have any questions, comments, or you would like to share your own story, remember our plea to you from last episode. Our 50th episode is coming up, and we want to hear from you. So make sure that you leave us something at our email. That's teaandcrystal@gmail.com. TEANDCRYSTAL@gmail.com. You can also leave those in our DMs on our various social media platforms. Subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Facebook by searching Tea and Crystals Podcast. Follow us on TikTok at Tea and Crystals Podcast, and on Instagram at Tea and Crystals Pod. And make sure you look in the description wherever you are listening or watching for all of those links. Now, Kristal, is there anything you want to say to the people before we get the hell up out of here?
Yeah, actually, I have 2 things. First of all, by the time you guys see this, we will have gone live on TikTok. Did any of you guys catch it? How did you like it? What did you think? Give us some comments. Let us know. We are thinking about the next time going live on Instagram. So give us your thoughts and opinions on that. We are definitely trying to figure out how to go live across all the platforms, but we're just kind of starting to venture into this. So we definitely want to try to start making it more common and doing it on whatever platforms you guys enjoy the most. And then the second thing, although we are not recording on that particular day, this is the closest day we're going to get to it. So, Timmy, I would like to say happy 1-year anniversary to our podcast, because September 1st, which is in like 2 days, will be the 1-year anniversary since we started showing you guys this.
Wow, Kristal.
I know.
A year, bitch.
A whole year.
It?
I can't believe it. Like, I think on the next podcast, the next episode, I might make a little bit more of a big deal, even though it would have already passed. Maybe I'll bring a little cupcake or something, the 1 on it. But I'm really excited. We made a whole year. This has been a consistent thing.
Girl.
We've done this every week, other than, holidays and stuff like that. So we have, I can't believe it.
That's
A year.
crazy.
I'm so excited with
This
what we've done.
all started for the new listeners, those who haven't been here since day one. This all started because Kristal and I had a conversation. She came to visit me over here where I live at. And we were sitting on the couch, and I brought up to her. I was like, "Bitch, I'm thinking about like streaming, or the pandemic was just such a dark, lonely time, and I really felt like putting something out there, expressing myself again, and I brought it up to her, and we just got into the conversation of our conversations that we have, because we do have lengthy, in-depth conversation where we go all over the place, and we just got to a place where we feel like, girl, we should just make a podcast and record our conversations. Like that would be entertaining. And from then we really looked into it and practiced for months until we were finally comfortable enough to record our first episode and release it on September 1st.
Yep. September
1st. And here we are a year later.
Yeah.
Time has flown, girl.
It has. It's crazy to me that it's been a whole year, but I'm really excited. I'm really happy with what we've been doing, what we're trying to do, where we're going, and I hope you guys continue to watch with us and continue to grow with us. And thank you guys so much. We'll see you guys next episode. Bye.
See y'all. Bye, y'all.